Hey, sup people, Marco here. And this time around we're going to be talking about the Helix by Olympian Modz. Alright, so this is their debut release under the name Olympian Modz Incorporated. This is the box in which we have the authenticity card. The atomizer would sit here, the Allen key that fastens the screws down is right there, and the atomizer is right here. This is what it looks like. So typically, as most atomizers go nowadays, this is 22 millimeters in diameter. It is a tripole, yes, and the airflow feeds from either side, or you can regulate it into a single ventilated side for single coil users. This is pretty much how it vapes. And, Okay, so taken apart, I'm just going to show you the inside, then we're going to talk about the top cap, where all the magic happens, because this is actually one of the most unique top cap designs that I've seen so far. So the deck is pretty standard. You have a bit of a juice well, not that deep, but enough for you to tuck your cottontails under. A tripole setup, fastened down by Allen heads. Okay, they're not of uniform height. You'll notice that the center post is significantly taller than the posts on either side. These are milled into the deck, better conductivity. And as I promised, this is the top cap. Now, I'm going to show you the inside first. Excuse me. All right, the inside features a domed roof for the top barrel. It is domed. It has a standard drip tip hole with the Helix laser etched right around the rim. The Helix insignia, laser etched right along the rim right there. So it goes around. The barrel fastens down with 4 parts, believe it or not. So it has this little top portion, which is a sort of a lock for the AFC rings, for the airflow control rings. Now this is where it gets really crazy. There are 3 independent airflow control rings right there. 2 made of stainless steel, 1 made of brass, all fastening down around this nifty little piece of gear here, top cap. So this is what it all looks like taken apart, and I'm going to explain why I'm taking the top portion out as well. So as you can see, it has 3 slits. Each can be controlled independently by each ring. Now the cool thing is that you can adjust the draw to your preferred setting and to the height of your coil, depending on whether you coil it close to the deck or you coil it upwards, you know, angled a bit or with enough to tuck a huge amount of cotton under. You can adjust each airflow channel as you see fit. So you could have it with you could have the bottom and the top like half opened, like that, and you can have the center one opened all the way. So you can have it partially exposed, you can have it fully exposed, and as you noticed, or you probably should have already, the dual portion, because it does have it on either side, has the serrations moving from left to right. Okay? If you're going to be building it single coil, you can have them all lined up, and each one independently controlled by these 3 nifty rings. So set up the way I had it set up earlier. I had it fully open on either side since I built it for cloud chasing and for overall fogging up the bathroom when you're taking a shit. So that's basically what it looks like with all that stuff. Now, why did I take the top part out? This is actually what I showed you earlier from the inside. The domed interior is right here on this portion. That's the amazing part about this atomizer, is that you can reduce the chamber size. It fastens down with a thread in this O-ring right here. So you screw it down along the top and you're able to shrink the chamber to allow for better flavor retention. So you can screw it pretty deep in. So when you have all the channels opened independently, and the machining is perfect, by the way. I love how each air hole or each airflow channel and each airflow control ring lines up exactly on either side. So you lock it down using that top piece that I took out earlier, and there you go. You can lock it all the way down. And these things don't budge. Drawback, as you probably noticed, there was a lot of gunky stuff around the cap. That is because the airflow control tends to leak a bit, and that's not even while it's installed. So once you have this fastened down, you don't have to worry about the airflow control channels wiggling or adjusting on their own. You don't have to worry about the top portion coming undone when you take the cap out. However, you're forced to use that once you lock it down. So if you're going to be adjusting it on the fly, you're going to have to take the whole portion out and loosen the top part just a little bit, just enough, and fasten it down. The threading is ridiculously smooth, and I like that. It makes it easier for me to change settings as necessary, which I rarely do, but in case you're after flavor and then somebody wants to see how fat of a cloud you can blow, you just got to take the top portion out, unscrew the top channel right here, or the top piece, and raise it up a bit. You get better airflow, better air retention, and consequently better inhalation for it. Now, the cons of the atomizer. First off, the poles. I don't have any complaints with the height because in spite of the height difference of each pole, I am able to line them up properly. So we have them of similar height, width, and diameter. So this is a macro coil. I have it built around a 3.5 millimeter guide, and it fits really nice and tight. I don't have to worry about this coil or this coil touching the top cap because it fastens down with an O-ring, nice and snug, real tight. Comes off pretty easy, no harm done. It doesn't chew away at the O-rings or anything like that. There you go. But the complaint I had was the fact that it uses Allen heads. I mean, I'm gonna have to carry an extra tool around. If I don't bring one of those replaceable head screwdrivers, then if I left my Allen key, I'm screwed, basically. It's a minor gripe. That's just for me because I don't always carry my kit around, so if I get messed up coils, I'm gonna have to find somebody who has an Allen key of the same diameter, which is pretty hard to find. Second con, although the airflow channels are independent and they line up perfectly, it does tend to leak a lot. It does. As you can see right there, there's even just adjusting it, I'm getting some trickle down there. And I never like that because it oils up my fingers. I gotta wash and wipe and all that stuff. So it gets pretty tricky. The third con with a cap is that it does tend to get a bit tight when it's juiced up a bit. And if you loosen it too much, well, not too much, but if you loosen it and have the O-ring exposed, if you can see the red O-ring on the top, because it gets to a point when you screw it out, the red O-ring becomes more prominently exposed right here. If you do that and you have the red O-ring showing, take that as a warning sign because you will not be able to fasten the top locking ring all the way down. I'm not quite sure why. Okay, so that means that the top airflow channel is going to wiggle. So there's a maximum height, and you're probably just going to have to play around with it and get a feel for what that maximum height would be. Usually I don't screw it all the way out. That way I'm able to lock the whole thing down nice and tight, and I don't have to worry about the O-rings rotating. There you go. Locked down nice and tight. I like how the brass centerpiece, or the center O-ring, or a center airflow control ring rather, adds a, it adds a nice accent to it. This is all 304 grade stainless steel, by the way, including the millings on the deck, the posts, the screws, everything. So it's all food grade 304. The cool thing is that it gives you the best of both worlds, and it gives you a whole lot of control over the type of vape that you're getting. You can go for Flavor, you can go for vapor, but the cool thing is even if you set it for vapor, it gets a whole lot of both because of the domed interior. And I like the versatility of being able to really adjust the chamber height. You know, I could I could screw this thing all the way down, just lock down on it, and still get a really, really nice amount of vapor and flavor out of it. Plus, it also adjusts the overall height, so if you're into 350 mods, you can tuck it down nice, and the drip tip wouldn't have it sitting too high up. So I'm going to show you how it vapes when I lock it down all the way down there. Just soak the cotton up. And the draw is just superb, especially when you clamp that chamber down. Now, here's what happens when you just dilate one of the air holes. If I shut off all the others and just leave the center one open. So I'm going to take the whole thing out and shoot them back one by one. We're going to lock out these two. The top and the bottom ones, I'm going to lock them out. And I'm just going to be opening up the center one, the one with the brass flow. Because the center one would line up perfectly with my coil. So that way you have the air feeding directly to your coil. And here goes. So you get a nice, denser cloud coming out. The draw isn't too loose because you just have one airflow channel open on either side. The draw isn't too loose, the flavor retention is massive, and you're getting a really nice, thick, white, huge cloud out of it. And that's depending on how you build it, of course, but you know, my point being that the way that it's machined is it gives you absolute control over the tightness of your draw, over the type of vape that you're getting, and the amount of flavor that you're keeping. So even with, say, high VG density juices, which tend to lose their flavor over time while they're in your atomizer and soaked up into your cotton, I'm not getting that kind of problem with the Helix, and I like that because there are days that I just want to loosen the draw all the way and shoot some vapor videos. There are some days that I prefer to be able to vape it all day and not end up with a case of gas after. I like the versatility on it. I like the adjustable flow, and the design ain't all that bad. It does have these ribbings right here, but I wouldn't say they act as cooling fins at all. They don't, to be perfectly honest. It has them on either side, on the top and the bottom, and it doesn't really do that. The point of contact right here is adjustable. So on the bottom you got the Olympian Modz engraved, and you have the serial number, which you also find on the side of the box. It's also printed on the authenticity card, so it says Olympian Modz Incorporated. This is to certify that the Helix atomizer is authentic and has met our standards and strict quality procedures. It also has a link to their Facebook on it, so you can check them out there. I'm not going to bother to put it in the description. Oh, what the hell, I think I will anyway. You can check out the group there, and you can PM the modder directly. This has not been made available locally because they are still working on the price point on it, but as soon as it is available locally, reseller shops and price point will be discussed by the modder on the page. So you might want to subscribe to it, check it out, give it a quick like, and follow him to get some updates on it, particularly for availability. I'm not going to discuss international price point yet. Instead, I'm just going to post the link on the description. And that about does it for the Helix atomizer. Overall, I'm thoroughly enjoying it. It's good for cloud chasing. It's easy to build, and it gives you a whole lot of control without sacrificing too much of the flavor. Actually, you're not losing that much of it to begin with. But the whole point being that it is definitely one of the most versatile drippers out there at the moment. I'd probably say it's the most unique I have to give him that. It's the most unique in the sense that it is the first I've seen with 3 independent airflow channels and a reducible and expandable chamber to some extent. It doesn't factor in that hugely, but it does make a difference. It's noticeable, but it's not make or break. I mean, it's not going to change your life if we're talking about, you know, flavor retention. It's always going to be there as long as you build it right, as long as you have the coil situated properly, you have your air holes dilated properly, you have the chamber reduction threaded portion screwed down just the right way. You're going to get just the type of vape that you want, and that's pretty much what everyone's looking for, because most atomizers, they're not for everyone. There are some who will like it, some who won't. This gives you a modicum of control over what type of draw you're getting, what type of vape you're getting. So I gotta hand it to the modder behind Helix, behind the Helix atomizer, because it is definitely innovative. I have to give him props for that. Innovation is definitely there. Control and versatility, absolutely 100% definitely there. So that's pretty much the Helix atomizer for you. If you guys bump into me, you can give it a shot. All right, I'm gonna catch y'all soon. Okay, you all vape hard. Cheers.